Thank you for joining us for this information session. Tonight, we will be discussing the online and part-time graduate programs in computer science, cybersecurity, and information systems engineering offered at the Whiting School of Engineering at Johns Hopkins University. My name is Cheryl Williams, and I am the Recruitment and Marketing Specialist for the Whiting School of Engineering. With me tonight is Dr. Thomas Longstaff. Tom is the chair of the Computer Science, Cybersecurity, and Information Systems Engineering programs. He began his role as chair in 2010 while serving as the chief scientist for the Cyber Missions branch of Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory. From 2012 to 2014, he served as a senior computer scientist for the U.S. Department of Defense. And in October of 2014, he returned to APL as a principal member of their technical staff, where he works today. Tom, thank you again for joining us tonight. Would you like to say hello?
Sure, as long as I can find the unmute button. Welcome, everybody. I'm very glad you're here and excited to tell you about the programs.
All right, great. Also with me tonight is Dr. Eleanor Klan. Eleanor is the program manager for the Computer Science, Cybersecurity, and Information Systems Engineering programs. She began her career at the Applied Physics Laboratory as an associate staff mathematician. She has served as an instructor for our programs for over 32 years and currently teaches a course in data structures. She also serves as the associate chair for these programs. Eleanor, would you like to say hello?
Hello, everybody. I'm sure I'll have an opportunity to talk to a great many of you one-on-one as you progress throughout the program. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, thank you, Eleanor. For tonight's presentation, we'll start off with an introduction to Johns Hopkins Engineering. Next, Eleanor and Tom will discuss with you our online and part-time degree programs in computer science, cybersecurity, and information systems engineering. Then we'll review some helpful information on tuition and payment options, talk about next steps and important dates, and we'll end with a live question and answer session with Tom and Eleanor. If you have any questions at any point in the presentation, please type them into the questions tab on the control panel. I know that a number of you have already submitted your questions. Thank you so much. If you are joining us via a cell phone or a tablet, simply select the question mark to access the question section. We'll address all questions at the end of the presentation. So why study engineering at Johns Hopkins University? Johns Hopkins University was founded in 1876 as the nation's first research university. The School of Engineering opened its doors in 1913, and in 1915, we began offering part-time engineering coursework as night classes for technical workers. Since then, we've grown to offer more than 20 master's programs that can be completed part-time. 16 of these programs can be completed entirely online. Our programs are designed by people who thoroughly understand your industry. We like to say that our programs are for engineers by engineers. Our faculty are all expert and working engineers. Eleanor and Tom will talk a little bit more about our faculty in just a few slides. Our faculty and instructional designers also construct new and update existing coursework every year so that it includes the most up-to-date information. In addition to our part-time programs, the Whiting School of Engineering has over 25 research centers and institutes. This includes our strong partnership with the Applied Physics Laboratory in Laurel, Maryland, also run by Johns Hopkins University. The Whiting School also offers full-time bachelor's, master's, and PhD programs. Our online and part-time programs are led by respected senior engineers from our Applied Physics Laboratory and faculty from our full-time programs. We are ranked in the top 25 best online graduate engineering programs by U.S. News & World Report, and we are ranked actually 6th for best online graduate computer information technology programs. And of all the schools that are included in these rankings, we actually have the largest online part-time student population. So not only will you have lots of fellow students going through a similar learning experience, but these rankings really speak to the quality of our programs regardless of our size, and our school is well equipped and experienced to help you navigate graduate education as an online student. The degree that you earn with us studying online and part-time is of the same quality as our full-time degree programs. Your diploma will not say online or part-time. You are eligible and highly encouraged to participate in commencement. And as a graduate, you will be one of more than 28,000 Whiting School alumni and will join our esteemed international alumni community. So that is an overview of who we are and the value of our programs. Now Eleanor is going to talk to you more about these 3 specific program areas. Eleanor?
Okay, welcome everybody. It's nice to have you here tonight, and we really appreciate your interest in our program. I'm program manager for these 3 programs: computer science, cybersecurity, and information systems engineering. And one of the things that we like to put forth is that the 3 programs share faculty, they share coursework, and as a result of that, they enjoy great synergy. In terms of our programs themselves, our programs attempt to balance theory with practice. We're looking for courses that offer both breadth and depth. We want you to know about all the latest things, and we try to incorporate all the latest things into our curriculum. But we want to give you enough theory and enough background and a good solid foundation so that 10 years from now, you don't need to go back to school just to take courses to be up to date. You'll be able to go with the flow and be able to learn the new things as they come along and keep up on your own, because you'll have that solid foundation. That's our goal. Our faculty are experienced professionals. We avoid hiring people who are simply instructors. We want people that have that cutting edge knowledge that can bring the practical application into the classroom and tell you, well, you know, last year I was working on this project and this is how it ties in to the material that we're discussing in this course. We have a huge range of courses that we can offer you. How does the number 110 sound? Most graduate programs offer a reasonable selection of courses. They might have 2 or 3 software engineering related courses. We have 10 or 12. They might have 2 or 3 web-based courses. We have 8 or 10. So we have tremendous breadth, but we also offer tremendous depth in our curriculum selection. We can get 2 students who both go through the program and both meet all the degree requirements and yet don't take any courses that are the same. The biggest problem you're going to have as a student is whittling that list of courses down to just 10. And because of that broad selection of courses from which you can choose, it means the degree program is extremely flexible. One person can take bioinformatics courses, another person can take enterprise computing courses, and a third person might take a little bit of each. So the way the requirements are structured, it's possible to have a great deal of flexibility in how you meet them. All right, so we offer the Master of Science degree in each of the 3 programs that we're discussing tonight. ISE also offers a graduate certificate, which is a post-bachelor's certificate consisting of 5 courses. And for students who already have an existing closely related master's degree, it is possible to do a postmaster's certificate in any of the 3 programs. Okay, so let's break it down by program. Computer science, master's degree, postmaster's certificate. So if you already have a master's degree in computer science itself, maybe in cybersecurity, maybe in electrical engineering, you would be a good candidate for a postmaster's certificate in computer science. But whichever degree you choose, whichever one you choose, the master's or the postmaster's, you have 113 or more courses to choose from, and we add new courses every year. Most of them are online. Most of them are also available on site. Not every course, as you can see, is yet available online, and there are a few that may never get there. And not every course is currently available on site. Some of them are so popular online, we never actually offer them on site anymore. It just depends. But we do offer planning documents on our website that you can use to figure out what's offered where, during what semesters, and work out a course plan that works for you. How do you work that out? By consulting your academic advisor. When you are accepted, you will be assigned an academic advisor. As a provisional student, if you happen to need prerequisites, you'd be assigned to me. But most students are assigned to a different permanent academic advisor once they become fully matriculated. And that's the advisor's job, to help you figure out what courses you want to take, the order in which it makes sense to take them, and they also can advise you on policies and how those policies affect you as a student. Cybersecurity has similar approaches. We offer the master's degree and the postmaster's certificate. Again, we would generally consider bachelor's degrees in computer science, master's degrees in computer science, cybersecurity, and electrical engineering to probably be sufficiently closely related to qualify for the postmaster's certificate. But for both cyber and computer science, if your master's degree isn't sufficiently closely related, we'll work with you to figure out what makes the most sense in your case. Unlike many of the cybersecurity programs, this one is very engineering oriented and very rigorous. And I'm going to turn it over to Tom. He can address that more specifically. That's his area of expertise.
Yeah, so hi everybody, welcome again. So cybersecurity, although I'm chair of all three programs, my personal research area and my passion has always sort of been in cybersecurity. When I first came to Johns Hopkins, one of the things that I recognized was there were a lot of cybersecurity programs around, but very few that I would call a rigorous engineering degree-based program. There were a lot that were blended with business schools and a lot that were blended with other sorts of programs that would really be aimed more at the administrative level of cybersecurity, or there were certificate programs that would allow you to pass things like the CISSP. What I really felt we needed to do is to create a program that would be every bit as technically rigorous as the computer science program that we had that Eleanor just described. So the courses that we do in cybersecurity are rigorous engineering courses that cover the gambit of everything from the introduction to information assurance through risk analysis, through intrusion detection, various kinds of network analysis, all the way into some of the more advanced fields that you might get within cybersecurity. So with the cybersecurity degree, what you really are signing up for when you do this is to get a deep technical engineering knowledge of the field that would last no matter what happens to the technology. So our approaches on the foundation, evaluating attacks, looking at architecting the defenses, and programming securely are just three high-level goals that we're trying to achieve throughout the cybersecurity program. And how we achieve those through all of the different mechanisms that exist in cybersecurity, the theory behind cybersecurity, and the practice of the existing tools and technologies you'll run into are all going to be covered throughout the different courses that you see in cybersecurity. So Eleanor, back to you.
Thanks, Tom. So if you're looking for cyber policy and management, this may not be quite the program for you. But if you want to get your hands dirty in the nitty-gritty, it might be. Our third program is Information Systems Engineering. Like the others, it offers the master's degree, the postmaster's certificate, and a post-bachelor's graduate certificate. So this is the only one of the three that currently offers the graduate certificate. That is a 5-course sequence. But for all of these, what we would consider a sufficiently closely related degree might be computer science, might be information systems, and depending on the slant you wanted to take, possibly a master's degree in system engineering. We consider this to be IT for the working engineer. There's a lot of emphasis on data engineering within the program. Of the 3 programs that we offer, it is the most flexible. Students in this program can go from an information systems background and take relatively technical courses in computer science and cyber, or they can go on and take combined information systems with system engineering. And for people that are really interested in being eclectic, they can take computer science, combine it with information systems, combine it with cyber, combine it with technical management, and mush them all together and come up with a program that is just exactly what they need for the path that they are trying to follow. All 3 of the programs have the same structure. They all require 10 courses, not counting any prerequisites you may need. They all have a time limit of 5 years, but it's important to note that the 5-year time frame starts with the first graduate course. The prerequisites are not included in the 5 years. Everybody starts by taking 3 required foundation courses. So if you are in cyber, it would be algorithms and foundations of IA and a cryptology course, just as an example. All 3 of the programs require you to take 3 courses from the same track, a track being an identified area of related courses. This is a depth requirement. It doesn't get recognized on your transcript. It doesn't get recognized on your diploma. It's not something that has to be declared and is easily changed at any time if your interests change. And once you've met those 2 requirements, you also have to take at least 2 courses at the advanced level, 700 level. And then you finish the program, fill out your 10, by taking courses that are of interest to you within the program. A maximum of 2 of those may be from outside your chosen program. So maybe if you're in computer science, you might want to take 2 electives from applied and computational math. Or if you're in cybersecurity, you might want to take some computer science electives that are cross-listed. So there's lots of flexibility, and electives are a good question to consult with an advisor. So I mentioned that all 3 of the programs are structured the same way, starting with 3 required foundation courses. And for computer science, those foundation courses are software engineering, architecture, and algorithms. So that gives you a good broad-based background in the field of computer science. The algorithms course, you will notice, is shared with the cybersecurity program. That's part of what makes this cybersecurity program relatively rigorous. It also requires you to take a cryptology course and a Foundations of Information Assurance course. The Foundations of Information Assurance is shared with the Information Systems Engineering curriculum. And that also shares the software engineering course from computer science. So this is the synergy we were talking about earlier, the shared coursework and the shared faculty. Software engineering is shared, algorithms is shared, foundations of IA is shared. So every program has two that are shared and one that is unique just to them. The Foundations of ISE is a course that talks a bit about system engineering, and it also talks a bit about networking and just gives you a broad-based introduction to the field in case you don't happen to take coursework in those specific areas. You'll still have somewhat of an introduction. We choose to divide all of our courses into tracks, and the tracks are actually reflected in the numbering system, which you probably will see once you get into the program. And the primary motivation is to give students an easy way to identify courses that are related to each other. The tracks that are in computer science are shown currently on the screen, and as you can see, we have 11 tracks. They simply represent courses that are related. The depth requirement is to pick a track and take at least 3 courses in it, hopefully including 1 or more 700 level courses. So we offer tracks in bioinformatics, which nicely reflects the fact that we also offer a shared degree in bioinformatics with another division of the university. Communications and networking is a second track. Cybersecurity, all computer science students can take cybersecurity courses and count them for their degree. So if you're interested in cybersecurity, but you're not really sure you want to be that restrictive, it might make sense to consider the broad-based computer science and elect a track in cybersecurity. So we have data communications and networking on there twice. So we really do only have 10 tracks. I thought 11 sounded odd. We have a data science and cloud computing track. So that's an area where you can take courses that are related to the up and coming field of data science. So that includes things like machine learning, cloud computing, and we've cross-listed courses in databases and visualization. There's a course in graph analytics. So there's a lot of selection there. We have databases and knowledge management. So that's where you'd find AI, machine learning, semantic-based courses. Enterprise and web computing. That is perhaps our most popular track area among students. Anybody that wants to write applications to work on the web in some way, shape, or form is going to want to take courses in this area. And a lot of students who choose a track in something else often take a course or two in this area just because it's so useful. HCI and visualization, I think, speaks for itself in terms of content of the track. Software engineering is perhaps our second most popular track. We have a huge depth of courses in this area, everything from software management to software patterns, and everything in between. Systems is the name that we use for the track that talks about the more hardware or system-based side of the curriculum. And in here, you can find courses on robotics and real-time systems, among other things. And what program would be complete without the theory? So we do have a very, very robust theory area. We offer everything from queuing theory to your basic algorithms course, combinatorics, and computational photography. So there's a very, very long list of courses in the theory area. And again, once you've met the basic requirements, you're free to choose courses from any of these areas. And so maybe you take a couple of software engineering courses with the idea that that's going to be your track, and then you go and you take some database courses and you like it so much you switch your track. That's great. You have the flexibility to do that. Cybersecurity is a much smaller, more specialized and focused program. And there are only 3 tracks available here: analysis, networks, and systems. But it's the same arrangement. You pick a track, you take at least 3 courses in it. You're free to change your selection at any time. The analysis is focused on the statistical side of things, includes courses like intrusion detection, which Dr. Longstaff teaches, IA analysis, digital forensics, to name a few. The networking course is all about cybersecurity issues related to doing things online. So we have a PKI course, we have web security, network security, just to name a few. And the third area is focused on the system side of things. So we have an embedded course. We're getting ready to introduce a new operating system security course this coming spring, and which is just one example of how we're always introducing new courses. So again, lots of choice, lots of flexibility. Tom, is there anything you wanted to add?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. The analysis portion, just to point out, is really everything that you'd want to know about the theory and practice of being a cybersecurity analyst. Really, if you want to be a cybersecurity network defender, you take the network track as your concentration or as your area of depth. And if you really care about host security and exactly what's going on down underneath the covers of your operating system and other things running on the computer, that's what the system track is focused on. So between those 3, it pretty much runs the gambit of anything you might want to look at in cybersecurity.
All right, and information systems engineering, again, the same arrangement. This time we have 8 tracks to choose from. You'll notice that there's a reasonable amount of overlap with the other 2 programs. That comes from sharing courses, the enterprise computing, the cybersecurity, the HCI, the software engineering. But we have a couple of different spins. We have data engineering, which is the information systems spin on data science. So it's a more focused track that is not interested in the whole pipeline of data science, but in simply engineering the data aspect of it. We also offer a network engineering track, and there's a great deal of depth there, and students within reason can take some choices from the computer science, relatively technical network courses. The system engineering is where it gets a little bit different. The system engineering allows you to take courses from another program in EP, which is called system engineering and is focused on basically project management, but at a systemic level and with an engineering spin. I'm probably not doing it justice, but these are not courses that fall into the mathematical rigor category, but they are nonetheless very intense courses, and they are definitely taught by highly experienced systems engineers. What's interesting about those courses is that they always bring 2 instructors to the class so that you can get more than one perspective on how to deal with the different situations that are encountered. Okay, let's take a look at the certificates. The graduate certificates require 5 courses, and of course that's only available in ISE. One of those 5 courses can be an elective from outside ISE. Doesn't mean you have to do it. A lot of students choose to only take courses within their program and not to take outside electives, but one is allowed. The postmaster certificate requires 6 courses, and only, again, one is allowed to be an elective. There is an additional requirement that at least 2 have to be at the advanced level. And if you apply for the postmaster certificate and maybe your degree isn't quite as closely related as we would like for it to be, sometimes we can work it out by specifying courses that you take as part of your certificate. So we do try to work with you on a one-on-one basis and try to make the program work for you. So what are we looking for? Well, the first thing we're not looking for is the GRE. We're assuming that our students have typically been out in the workforce for quite a while. And when that's the case, it's not practical to tell somebody they have to go back and study and take the GRE. So we don't require that. We think that there is definitely something to be gained from the tincture of time, and that there are skills picked up in the workplace that can translate back to the academic environment. Although that being said, we do think that previous academic success is the most important indicator. We want to see that you have a somewhat related technical bachelor's degree. We're looking for a grade point average of 3.0, but that is not your cumulative grade point average. Rather, we're looking at your second half grade point average. The idea being is, in most cases, that's when you took your advanced courses in your major. That being said, we don't actually require the same degree. You don't have to have a bachelor's in computer science to apply for the master's in CS. We will look for specific background. And for computer science and cybersecurity, that background is a year of calculus, a suitable math beyond calculus, which is preferably discrete mathematics, but could be something else like linear algebra or differential equations. We also have 3 semesters of computer science prerequisites, a programming language course in Java or C++, data structures, and computer organization. If you don't have the prerequisite work, but you do have some experience, we're just going to say, go fill in the background on the prerequisites you're missing. We're not going to turn you down just because you have holes in your background. All right? If that's the only issue, we'll simply ask you to fill in the holes. The requirements for information systems engineering, which is now on the screen, are very similar. We want a technical related bachelor's degree. Again, no GRE. A little broader spectrum of what might be considered related here. Again, we're looking for the second half GPA of 3.0 or better. Similar list of coursework for background, but not quite as long. The Java or C++ is the same. The calculus one is the same, but will allow you to substitute that with discrete math. And then we'll take a second math course, and for that we'd like to see something like statistics, perhaps. The data structures course, for most students, is going to be listed in their letter as conditionally required. What that means is it's going to depend on the courses you select in the ISE program. If you're going to go heavy duty down the path of CS and cyber, you're going to need to take it. If you mostly focus on network engineering and system engineering, you can probably avoid it. Again, a really great question to address with an advisor. All three of our programs offer courses online, on-site, and both. As you can tell by the three icons, we use those icons in the catalog and on our website to help you identify how a course is available to you. So you're not heavily planning on taking a course next semester online when it's not actually even offered that way. We don't want you to do that. So these are our on-site locations. The Homewood campus in Baltimore is shown kind of in the center of the diagram, and that's the main campus for the university, for the full-time program, the residential program, if you will, where all the research-based programs are located. The on-site programs that are offered as part of Engineering for Professionals are pretty much all located at the Applied Physics Lab. And then we consider online to be our other location. There are some additional locations marked on the map. Dorsey Services Center is our administrative location. And Montgomery County and Southern Maryland and Crystal City are other locations that are used by different programs in EP, but they do not happen to be used by the three programs we're discussing here tonight. And it looks like I'm turning it back over to Cheryl.
All right, thank you again, Eleanor and Tom. Now we'd like to share some information to help you take this next step. Some of the most common questions that our admissions team gets from prospective students is, what is the tuition and what resources are available to help me pay? So here it is. Our current tuition is $4,055 a course. Our courses are each 3 credits, so this is the total tuition cost for each 3-credit course. Because our tuition increases every year or fluctuates every year due to inflation, we really encourage students to budget $45,000 total for their degree. This cost may exclude books and materials just because those costs differ depending upon what classes you register for. But in addition to tuition, you are not paying any fees. So there is no semesterly tech fee that we charge students. We don't charge our online and part-time students a student union fee. When prospective students submit their application, we do not charge an application fee, so just keep that in mind. The only fee that we regularly charge for our online and part-time programs is a fee at the end of your study with us, so a graduate fee kind of marking the completion of your study with us. We do, like Eleanor said, we do have some prerequisite coursework available. That is available at a reduced rate of $1,100 a class. You do have a variety of financing options available to you depending on your personal circumstance. I really encourage you to investigate and to take advantage of any education benefits that your employer may offer. We unfortunately do not have any scholarships available for our online and part-time graduate students, but there are other associations and organizations that do. For example, the National Consortium for Graduate Degrees for Minorities in Engineering, otherwise known as the National GEM Consortium, does offer fellowship programs. Rules, requirements, and application instructions can be found on GEM's website. So just, Google and find their website. Just to let you know, their application deadline for their fellowship programs is November the 13th. If you are a U.S. citizen or a qualifying U.S. resident, you may be eligible to use financial aid. Financial aid that's available to graduate students is largely unsubsidized loans. So similar to that, you can of course finance your education through a personal loan. And if you are active or retired military and you have veterans benefits, you can of course utilize these to finance your education. We do have a number of active duty and retired military in our online and part-time programs. If you're planning on using veterans benefits to finance your education, here are some things to keep in mind. The URL that you see on your screen here, ep.jhu.edu/veterans, has some great information on the forms that you need to complete and to submit in order to utilize your veterans benefits. Our certifying official for the Whiting School, her name is Nancy Carr, and she is just the best. She's really helpful, very responsive. You can find her contact information on that website. For students using Chapter 33 post 9/11 benefits, the Department of Veterans Affairs sets an annual cap on tuition for private schools. That cap is $21,970.46. And this is for an entire academic school year. So it includes fall, spring, summer, and it renews every fall. We just talked about our cost, our tuition costs. So just doing some quick math for you, 5 courses will come underneath of the cap. The cost for 5 courses is $20,275. 6 courses, however, will exceed that cap. The cost for 6 courses is $24,330. So Johns Hopkins is a yellow ribbon school. How yellow ribbon works at Johns Hopkins is that if you exceed your tuition cap and you qualify, qualifying students can receive $1,000 per year, and it's awarded on a first come, first served basis. So recently in the news, the Harry W. Colmery Veterans Educational Assistance Act of 2017, otherwise known as the Forever GI Bill, was signed into law. This law expands on the veterans' education benefits offered through Chapter 33 post 9/11 GI Bill. For example, it removes the benefit expiration dates for those who were discharged or released from the military on or after January 1st, 2013. So if this is you, you now have an unlimited amount of time to utilize your veterans benefits. They do not expire. There's a lot of really exciting new benefits or expanded benefits that are wrapped up in this law. For more information on the Forever GI Bill, I encourage you to visit military.com and just search Forever GI Bill. They have some great articles with more information. If you are located outside of the U.S. and are interested in studying with us, here's some helpful tips to keep in mind. International students, of course, are welcome to study with us from their home country through our online programs. Whether you study with us online or on-site, here are some additional admissions requirements for those students. First, international students must submit an international credit evaluation of any credit earned at non-U.S. institutions. We prefer students to go through WES. WES is a third-party credit evaluation service, and the physical evaluation product that you want to request is called the ICAP. International students also must submit proof of English proficiency via, for example, qualifying scores on a TOEFL exam. On-site students, in order to maintain their F1 visa status, students must enroll full-time and provide proof of financial support to cover annual living and education expenses. Next steps and important dates. So if you are interested in beginning a program with us, the first stop obviously is to select your program and then to submit your application for admissions. You can do that by visiting the URL that you see on your screen now, ep.jhu.edu/apply. After submitting your application, by the way, it's a very straightforward application. There's no personal statement or anything like that. Once you submit that application, you'll need to submit your academic transcripts and professional resume. We have rolling admissions here at Johns Hopkins for our online and part-time programs. It typically takes our admissions team and our academic departments 4 to 6 weeks from the time that they receive all of a prospective student's documents to review those documents and then to issue that prospective student a decision letter. So with that in mind, Here are some important dates. The spring registration for the spring semester does open on October the 26th, and the spring semester starts on January the 29th. So if you are interested in beginning your studies with us in the spring semester, I encourage you to submit your application as soon as possible, ideally well before December the 15th, if you can. So that is the end of the prepared portion of this presentation. Now I'd like to turn it back over to Eleanor and Tom to answer some of your questions. Eleanor, Tom, take it away.
All right, so I see we got quite a few questions in the meantime. So we can start working through it, and Eleanor and I can sort of go back and forth. So what if my course is available only on site and I am far away from the university? Well, sadly, that means that that course would not be available to you. So only the online courses are available to students who are not locally within the area of our campus within Maryland. That still is, as Eleanor said before, most of our courses, but we don't have any other facility for those courses that are only offered on site.
So what I wanted to add is that we are starting to offer a few courses in a virtual live format, which is synchronous, and you have to attend at a particular time, but it is possible to attend remotely. So I'm not saying it will be an option, but it's possible, and it would be worth checking for.
Okay, so the question here, what does the MS Cybersecurity, what does rigorous refer to? Rigorous refers to the fact that we would expect a student in the cybersecurity degree to be able to both address technical programming issues within cybersecurity, configure systems and routers, be able to understand at the packet level and the network level everything having to do with cybersecurity, having to understand what the mathematics behind cybersecurity might be, the mathematics behind cryptography. So rigorous in this sense means not simply high-level talking descriptions and about cybersecurity, but actually doing it at a very detailed level. Online degree have any difference with the on-site one? There is no difference with regard to the rigor of the material or the depth of material between the online and the on-site, which, by the way, is not reflected in the degree that you get. There is only one degree, which is the MS in Cybersecurity, Computer Science, or ISE. However, the mode in which the information is presented is a little bit different online just based on the modality. It tends to be broken up into shorter videos along with hands-on exercises and different kinds of discussion groups, whereas, as you would expect, in the on-site ones, there's more face-to-face lecture in the 3 hours of class time. But in terms of the depth of material, there is no difference.
And typically, it's the same instructors.
Primary differences between ISE and systems engineering. So systems engineering is an extremely well-defined area that allows you to do various kinds of mathematically induced system trade-offs and architectures within the area of engineering. ISE, on the other hand, is a more computer science related degree, but somewhat more broadly based than a standard computer science degree, and a little more eclectic, as Eleanor had said when she described the degree. Probably the best way to really get the sense of the ISE degree is to actually look through the catalog at the courses. Krish, when you said 7 courses over 5 years, that's incorrect. It is 10 courses over 5 years, the 5-year clock starting on the first graduate course that counts towards your degree. So prerequisite courses do not count as part of the 5-year timeline. But once you take your first graduate degree that's going to apply to the degree, you have 5 years in which to complete it. Which program would have more focus on cloud computing and DevOps? Probably, Sanesh, what you really want to look is at the a collection of different tracks within computer science. Certainly the web and enterprise computing would be one focus area. The idea in sort of the big data portion is going to be something that you want to look at in cloud computing. And within the DevOps, you're going to want to look at a few of the systems engineering style courses. So there isn't a single focus that I can point you to for cloud computing and DevOps, but since you have the flexibility to pick and choose the courses, you would have plenty of ways to gather out of the 10 courses what you need and still stay within a track. Where can I find the course list and the description of the course and what is taught? So Krish, if you go to the website, there are two ways in which you can sort of get the information you're looking for. One is you can get the traditional catalog, which is basically a large file that you can search through in terms of all of the different descriptions of each of the programs. Probably the more effective way is to go and navigate within the website to each of the programs that you're interested in, and you will see very clearly a link to tell you all the courses and the lists of the courses that exist. From those lists on the courses, you can get to the course homepage. The course homepage is a detailed description of the course, who is teaching it. In fact, we have a different course homepage for every different instructor we have of every course. So a single course may have 3, 4, 5 different course homepages, so that you can select the instructor that is most closely aligned to your goals. And that gives you pretty good, complete information on what it is you're looking for in terms of what's covered in the course, how the course is going to be assessed, and the goals and objectives that you probably achieve from the course. Okay, Terry, you're a CS major from the late 80s, currently working in cybersecurity. I'd like to know if the program will assist in getting back into the academic swing of things. So I'll give you a hesitant yes, with the caveat that the way the programs are designed are really designed to be a terminal master's degree in order to create or enhance the capabilities of individuals to work within the field. So if you're a CS major looking to work in cybersecurity, what you'll get from an MS in cybersecurity is a detailed knowledge of cybersecurity that would last, but you won't necessarily be directly tracked within an academic path to, say, a PhD. We do have within all 3 programs the capability for a student in very good standing to take independent studies that you could take and write the equivalent of a master's degree thesis, which could assist you in getting accepted into a PhD program. But the programs themselves are not designed to be a feeder into PhD programs. So unlike your traditional PhD programs, it's not sort of something that you get along the way. It's designed to be a terminal master's. Eleanor, do you have anything to add on that?
No.
Okay. So if you change your mind and change tracks, do you need to pay a fee once again? No, there aren't any fees, there aren't any additional fees that you would pay. If you're going to change tracks within a single degree, there's not even anything formal about it. You simply work with your advisor to make sure you're going to meet the track requirements, and that's it. If what you mean by that is you're going to change programs, if you want to go, say, from computer science to cybersecurity or cybersecurity to computer science, there aren't fees to pay, but you have to make sure that the courses that you've taken up until that point will apply to the other degree. So again, you would work with your advisor and with Eleanor to decide if the courses you've taken up to that time make it meaningful to change programs, or would you actually have to take some additional courses than the ones that you have planned. Does the cybersecurity program have the NSA CAA certification? Well, Mohammed, the Center of Excellence certifications are presented to universities, not individual programs. Johns Hopkins University is a Center of Excellence and does have that certification, but it's based on the comprehensive set of programs, not just on the cybersecurity program within EP. So it's a combination of the Johns Hopkins Information Security Institute, the full-time program for the master's degree on campus, and the programs that we offer within EP. If you're interested in the cybersecurity degree, are there any courses in cloud security available as electives? Is there a way to look up courses available under cloud computing in the computer science degree? Of course, the computer security degree has several cross-listed courses, and as Eleanor had mentioned, any course that is not cross-listed into cybersecurity can be taken as an elective within cybersecurity. So if you're specifically interested in looking at cloud computing from computer science, you can take those as electives. We don't have a course specifically called cloud security, but the web security class covers many of the topics you would expect to see in cloud security. Is enterprise and web computing a shared track between comp sci and information systems engineering? We don't really have a concept of shared tracks. We have shared courses and cross-listed courses, but the tracks themselves are unique to the programs. And you'll see the courses listed in each track under the program descriptions within the catalog. So that once you are in a program, you really have to look at the track requirements within that particular program. So we don't have a concept of a shared track in terms, and if that's what you meant by that question, we don't have anything quite like that. Do we take international students? Yes, as we had mentioned in the presentation, we welcome international students to either take our courses within their home country online, or if they're able to come to this country, then surely, or if they're in here on another visa, they're welcome to take the classes that we have online or in person. Okay, so information systems is more software as systems is more hardware. Robert, I'm not 100% sure what you're referring to. There are both software and system components in the ISE degree as well as the computer science degree. So there's not an easy characterization I can make to talk about one being more software and sort of one being more hardware in that particular area. Again, I point you to the course homepages as the way to really look at where the focus of the individual classes might be. Okay, is there an additional requirement for foreign university degree graduates?
Well, I would just like to say that students who have completed coursework abroad, we had talked a little bit about this in terms of admissions requirements for international students, but they have to get an international credit evaluation done of that credit that they've earned at a non-US institution. So, you know, like we said earlier, the third party that we prefer students to go through is called WES, W-E-S. And if you go to their website, it has like all the instructions. They're a third party, but they'll have all the instructions on what you need to do, what you need to submit in order to get that evaluation completed. Eleanor, we then receive that international credit evaluation, and that is technically the transcript that we then use, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
It'll like tell us exactly how the credit you've earned at a non-US institution kind of compares to credit that you would have earned at a similar US institution and things of that nature.
So what it would say basically is this student has the equivalent of a bachelor's degree from a regionally accredited U.S. university in the following field, like computer science or biology or whatever it happens to be. It is also supposed to transliterate the grades if the country or the school uses a different system. And that's part of what their expertise is supposed to include. I do find sometimes that students don't always agree with that assessment, but it is what it is.
Okay, so continuing down, is there a path available for a PhD? Michael, as I mentioned before, this is designed to be a terminal master's degree, and out of these particular programs, we do not currently offer a PhD. The path available would be to take independent studies toward the end of your degree to do a master's level thesis equivalent in order to get into a different PhD program. Where is the cybersecurity program mostly located? Jonathan, it's located mostly online and face-to-face. We have almost all of the cybersecurity classes translated to the online format. It is one of the most complete online programs that we currently offer. Do we offer the cybersecurity online program for fall of 2017? I can tell you that we're teaching that program right now and have been teaching it for a number of years. So obviously the deadline really is too late for fall of 2017. That's happening right now, but there's still plenty of time to apply and be accepted for the spring.
There are a couple questions I'd like to tackle. One question is and there are a couple that are related to deadlines for admission. We do what are called rolling admissions. We have no specific deadline. And one of the things that means is that a decision about you to be admitted or not is based only on you. It's not a function of how many students we have or have not accepted so far this year. So you can apply right now for the spring. I would kind of recommend that you apply by mid-December at the latest for practical reasons. But if you apply after that, we'll process your application, and with luck, you'll still have an answer before the spring starts. For the fall of 2018, I would suggest that you apply no later than the middle of next June. But you can apply anytime before that and mark the term that you're interested in starting. The other question I wanted to ask, because there's a couple of them, about H-1 visa students, people who are working on an H-1 visa in the United States, whether or not they would need to provide the TOEFL. The determination for whether or not you have to provide the TOEFL is where your degree originates. And if you have a foreign degree, you have to provide the TOEFL. However, there is a process by which you can request a waiver, and working in this country a certain amount of time is possibly a basis for getting the requirement waived. By the way, if you do need to submit the TOEFL, we are looking for a score of 100 or better, hopefully better, on the IB version of the exam.
Okay, so just sort of going back to the list, our prereq courses a full semester long or quarterly. They are typically a full semester. They run in the same schedule as does our graduate courses. What's the typical curriculum for a course, and how are they evaluated? There is no typical curriculum for a course. We have a wide variety of ways that the individual instructors have decided to structure the material and teach their class. Face-to-face tends to be a little more standard. We tend to have more lectures, homework assignments, exams. Online really is widely varying in terms of how you would approach those. The only commonalities across the online courses is that they are all asynchronous but not self-paced, so that within a single week module you can mostly do the work at whatever time fits your schedule. Often there are intermediate milestones, like you have to do a particular discussion post by day 3 and a follow-up post by day 5. But within that week, there's a lot of flexibility on when you complete the work, but everybody moves ahead at the same time, module to module. So it's not self-paced. And that's about as much commonality as I can suggest across. For the cybersecurity program, does the foundation cryptology course count toward the 700? Wow, that's a very astute question, Steve. Yes, it actually does count as one of the 700 level course requirements. At least it does in the current catalog. What is the admission rate of the program? Eleanor, do you want to say something about the admission rate?
Oh, that's tricky. As I mentioned,
which is why that's why I passed it to you.
As I mentioned a few minutes ago, we don't do class-based admissions. We do rolling admissions. So our decision about you is based only on you. We do accept a relatively high percentage of applicants, perhaps more than half, but I think there's a lot of self-selection in the process before people actually get to the point where they apply to us. There is also a question about the current graduation rate. Again, that's tricky. There's a lot of students who don't finish for reasons that have nothing to do with the program. life happens. They have an additional child, or they get a promotion at work, and something else that interferes with their ability to be a student on top of everything else. So yes, there are students that we dismiss for academic reasons, but that's a relatively small number. Most of the students who do not finish for other reasons. And I can't give you a number.
Yeah. Okay. So another good question from Derek. Any plans for VR, AR courses in the near future? Derek, we are always experimenting with the most recent technology that we can for offering courses. We don't have any right this moment under development for VR, AR, but we are looking at a whole series of technologies to enhance the engagement, the level of engagement that we get, especially in our online classes. So all I can really say is stand by. More kinds of things like that are coming. Do most courses have textbooks and/or required reading? Yes, I would say most courses do have some kind of required reading. Textbooks tend to be assigned to courses that would be at the entry graduate level. The more senior graduate level classes tend to have more papers, published papers, and various things like that. But yes, almost every course has some kind of required reading. Let's see, what else do I have? Which cybersecurity concentration is designed for CNO programmers? We don't have any security concentration specifically designed for CNO. The best I can say is that the analysis track that we currently run within cybersecurity contains those courses that are most closely related to understanding the sort of attack defender environment. I have a non-STEM degree but related coursework and work experience. Can I still be considered? Yes, as Eleanor has said several times, we really look at each student holistically based on the coursework you've completed and the work experience that you have. I would certainly encourage you to apply if you're unsure, and you will get a definitive answer in terms of your personal background. Can EP students take classes on the Homewood campus? Yes, in a limited fashion. We actually count classes on the Homewood campus that are related to the degree program that you are taking. We will count pretty much all of the juicy courses as relevant to the cybersecurity. We will count computer science classes on campus for the computer science degree. We don't really have a good way of automatically evaluating the ISE courses you might take because there's no directly equivalent program on the Homewood campus. Mostly, however, this is limited by just the nature of the students taking the programs and the ability to get into the classes that tend to be more limited on the Homewood campus. Typical curriculum for a course, I think we've covered that one. I'm interested in the analysis side of cybersecurity. Can you describe what is incorporated in it? Well, there's a wide variety of classes in the analysis track on cybersecurity, but essentially in a nutshell, you can say if what you're interested in is becoming a SOC operator or something where you will be looking at activity and trying to determine the nature of the attack and what to do about it, that's what we're trying to cover in the analysis side of cybersecurity, both in theory and in practice. Are there any cloud security available as electives? I think we've covered that. Yes, you can take electives from the cyber or the ones that are cross-listed. Trying to come down to ones that we have not actually answered yet. Will the cybersecurity program offer any additional tracks in the future, Brandon? Almost certainly. What those tracks will be, I don't know yet. If you have any specific ideas of ones you would like to see, please feel free to reach out to us. For the Cybersecurity Online program, we have 3 foundations courses, track courses, and the other 4 can be pulled from the other 2 tracks or from the same track. Yes, basically, once you've met your track requirements, you can pull courses from anywhere you wish within the program. And that's, of course, you can also have your 2 electives from outside in a related program. There is not a dual degree option. That is not something that we currently have. It is something that always is talked about, but at the present time, we do not have a way of doing a dual degree. Again, this is Piola talking about a bachelor's in geology and geophysics. Again, I can't really look at the statement and say yes or no. We can't adjudicate it based on this, but I would encourage you to apply, and you will get a decision based on your entire background. Let's see. Enterprise Web doesn't seem to be teaching new technologies. Actually, the Enterprise Web Computing track does include React, Angular, and some of the other ones. The courses are updated on basically a semester by semester basis. So it's up to the individual instructor, but I know that the instructors personally do update with some of the more recent frameworks that are available. I'm starting to come down toward the end of the list. Are there opportunities to combine master's programs and certificates? Not entirely sure, Jonathan, what you're trying to accomplish. You can get a master's program and then a postmaster's certificate. And there are ways that you can get one and then the other. You can get a certificate and then apply those to a master's degree. But in terms of combining master's program certificates, there's probably no way to get both of them conferred at the same time. Let's see, down to...
In point of fact, you cannot get them conferred at the same time. You can only get one thing conferred in a semester. But also, if you do 2 master's degrees, 2 courses from the first one can be applied to the second one, potentially. But there's no double dipping otherwise.
And I think this is the last question that I have. Since this MS is non-thesis, can I do a research project with the advisor? I'll have that. It is exactly the intention of the independent study. And you can work with your advisor or with any particular instructor that you wanted to, and the instructor agrees. We allow all of our instructors to essentially work with the student to define an independent study, which again has to be defined and approved. But once it is, you can do a research project with them. I will mention one other benefit that we do actually have with an independent study, and that is if you work with an instructor on an independent study and you write a paper that is published in a conference, we as the program will actually help with the travel expenses so that you can go and present that paper. And that is not something that we do often, but when we do it, we very much like it and make a huge deal out of it throughout the entire program. It's a real feather in the cap of the instructor and the student and the program. So that is something that is a benefit that we are happy to offer. And I think with that, I am at the bottom of the questions.
So there is one that just came in about accepting courses from Coursera to meet the prerequisites. And the answer to that is no. We do not accept courses from any MOOC base or training or anything like that. We only accept prerequisite coursework from regionally accredited schools. We are happy, however, to pre-approve courses elsewhere so that when you take a prerequisite, you're not wasting time taking something that it turns out we can't accept. And we do recommend that you apply first, even if you're pretty sure you know you need to do prerequisites. That way you can get an accurate assessment and you can get pre-approval so you don't inadvertently take the wrong thing.
Anyway, thank you so very much for your time, and we look forward to reading your applications. Take care.